You're listening to The Interview Show with Seth Goldstein on the PhillyTech.org Netcast Network. And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second edition of the Interview Show on the PhillyTech.org network. I'm here with Taylor Cohen, the CEO and co-founder of BackPac, minus the K, a social network for the college crowd.
Yes,
So, Taylor, tell us a little bit about yourself and BackPac.
Great. All right, so obviously you guys know my name's Taylor. I am a senior at Rowan University. I'm finally getting out of here in December. Living in Philadelphia, though, so obviously excited to be joining with everybody here. Been working on BackPac now for about a year. I've had a really strong interest in social media for a while. I usually tell people, it all started with Tom from MySpace. He was my first friend, and he had the biggest influence on me. I was using social media even 12, 13 years old in different ways than I guess you could say my friends were, to where maybe they were using it to connect with people. I was trying to figure out why people were connecting with people the way that they were, why they were communicating this way. And it sounds very odd to say that as a 12 or 13-year-old. But in recollection, that's really what I was trying to get at. And I found as an entrepreneur, without kind of realizing that's what I wanted to do yet, I was figuring out ways to kind of make money off of my friends. So I was doing oh, give me $5 and I'll do your AIM profile. Give me $10 and I'll do your MySpace profile, and I'll find a cool template and I'll make your About Me section. So as I kind of got into college and whatnot, I got into advertising, and my background's kind of exclusive to digital media, and I started to see over the past year or so, there were two big things that happened. One, being in this field and being in this market, you see a lot of new startups, new ways that brands are trying to target their audiences. And the ones that are kind of segmenting either a market or a specific demographic, even maybe sometimes psychographics, they seem to get the most attention from, say, different outlets, and they catch on a lot quicker. And this was just from my personal experience. It may not be, a fact, but it was just clearly evident in my field. Now, as I said, I'm in college, so at the time of me kind of realizing this and seeing this cool trend that was going on, I started interviewing for some internships. And this one internship is what led to BackPac. I went on an interview. It was a big interview in New York City. Amazing program they had for the summer. This was about this time last year. I go on the interview. I killed it. Seth, I knocked it out of the park. I had it in the bag. I knew some people at the agency. I really thought I had it. As I'm walking out the door, we all have these smartphones, we have all these apps on them. We're always connected, and especially as millennial, people expect that. Being in my field, social media, they would be weird to not have that. So I'm literally walking out the door, and the woman stops me. And she was the executive creative director and vice president of the agency. She says, do you have your phone on you? And I said, yeah. She goes, great. Can I see your Facebook? And I'm like, yeah. Now, again, being in this field, I do know, there's certain things that you don't want to post on the internet. And I really don't have anything on Facebook that would, say put me in a bad situation, just because at this point in time, this was, like I said, only a year ago. It's become clearly evident that social media can be used against you when, say, you're looking for a job, or in this case, an internship. And I know that it is, almost like employers can be watchdogs. So I was kind of prepared, but not. And I guess what I wasn't prepared for was how it was going to make me feel emotionally. So I handed her my phone, and this was, like not long after Facebook had come out with their whole timeline feature and everything. So like in a matter of minutes, she was back in like 2008, and that was like my senior year of high school. So there was this really rather large disconnect of um, my authentic self and how I presented myself in, say, my interview and what she was maybe seeing on Facebook. And this really bothered me, like even as it was happening. And like I said, it wasn't, there's nothing bad, but it just didn't sit with me well. I actually did not get the internship.
Wow.
And yeah, I did not get the internship. And like I said, I had a good friend that worked there, and she actually told me, she said she just felt like from what she saw on your social media and then how you presented yourself in the office, um, to sum it up, like I just said, she just mentioned that there was this disconnect of the way that you present yourself. So
Oh, wow.
I had a huge problem with this, and it's a huge problem that's been going on for a while, not just with me, but as I started to tell people about what happened in my situation, a lot of my other friends or even like associates that I work with moving forward from this, had expressed, this concern as well. And I saw that the biggest problem was, or the people that were worried about this the most were actually millennials that were aware, that not everything we share is private, but people that are, in college, and there's so many different areas of where things like this can be affected. It's a very odd time in our lives, but yet we want to be able to, share our experiences. And unfortunately, at this day and age, it's kind of part of culture to say, which is something somebody said to me recently, actually, post it or it didn't happen. If you can't prove it, were you really there? Did it really happen? Did
Yeah,
you
peer
really see that?
pressure.
Exactly. So it's like social media peer pressure. It's a real thing. So I started thinking of like, something, I was like furious. I was like, something needs to be done. So I've never started up a company, but I know a lot about social media, and I do a lot of research in the field. My background's communication studies, which is really the art of persuasion, but through that, I studied a whole lot about behaviors, and I just went for it. I said, if the guy next door to me can start up a company, why can't I? Who says I can't? I figured it's going to be hard. I'm a college student. I'm never going to be able to pull this off. So it was actually something completely different in the beginning. The privacy factor was always there, but we've been working on this for about a year now. I got the best piece of advice like a few weeks into kind of telling some people some ideas. I attended like some Philly meetup thing, which was like the first time I ever told anybody about like an idea, the first time I ever really met anybody in Philly that was in like the tech community. And that is what drove this 100%. That's why my company is here in Philly. That's why I will stay in Philly. And that's very like incredibly important to me. Thing I hold closest to my heart actually about why this is becoming so successful. Um, I immediately was told, this is a great idea. There's a lot of things that you need to change and a lot of things you need to work on, but I think you should roll with it. And it's ended up to be, really a private social network for college students that empowers them to freely express themselves, where they don't have to worry about what they're sharing because the privacy factor is military grade. We want to be able to make this something that actually is no backdoor policy. So in order to say anybody outside of college get into our network, they need to present me with a warrant. Unless, of course, it is some type of emergency, or there's a threat, something like that, we have exclusions. But what I also saw, Seth,
Mhm.
was as a college student myself, everybody's poor here. College is expensive, and we're
Yeah.
busy with school, and it got even harder with the startup. And I found myself really, really dealing with some financial problems, even worse off than some of my friends. And it's crazy to say that because I mean we're so young, and of course, yeah, we're going to be poor, and that's what my parents would say. But it's still hard nonetheless. The average college student, I think their discretionary spending is like $152 a week. I mean, I live off campus. Like I said, I live in Philly. With food and gas and everything like that, that is not. That is nowhere near enough money. And then, we want to have this experience for 4 years because it's the last time that, we're we're kind of like free without, having to wake up every morning and, go to work. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we want to be able to walk away from college and say, yeah, I did that and I did it the best I could. And I had these awesome times and I had some awesome experiences. And it's hard to do that when, everything, I mean, at the end of the day, everything costs money. So what we've actually built into BackPac is kind of like an incentive for our users. Um, I kind of look at this as like a social network that also gives back. So um, just like, a regular like or maybe even like say dislike, we use an upvote downvote method, sort of like Reddit. Our algorithm's time stamped, so users actually view content in their time or in their news feed based upon their university that they choose. But they also are only going to see content that is relevant at that moment. We're always busy, we're on the go, and I don't want to see, a post that somebody shared from yesterday at the top of my feed just because it got 30 upvotes. The reason it got 30 upvotes because it's been on my feed since yesterday.
Yeah.
So, it's the most relevant info, but the users that get the most upvotes, they're actually eligible for rewards from companies or brands that specifically advertise or target the college market. So I mean, like I have boxes, and I'm not even exaggerating this. I have boxes of like magnets and lanyards and a bunch of just crap that I'm never going to use. Not, all these companies are always trying to give us the stuff, to have their name on it. But the thing is that it's really just a waste of money. None of us use it. We usually lose it or throw it out. For me, it sits in a box in my basement. So I I wanted to be able to do something so that students could get stuff that they actually would use. And it would incentivize them to actually share better content. So you're not seeing the 48 pictures of somebody's dog or, the photos of some girl's baby that, you graduated high school with and she doesn't even go to your school. So it's all about market segmentation. And as an example, what I usually use is, myself. But to explain here, we'll use Red Bull. So Red Bull is somebody I would love to partner with. Their market is college students without a doubt. And the way that I see things through my research and even just I've worked for a couple of different apps myself. Um, Everybody at the end of the day wants to be liked and they want to be known as popular. Even if they don't use that word, that's what it is. It's regular human psychology. So say I partner with Red Bull. Red Bull sends me out maybe like 100 free cans. I post something on BackPac that a lot of other students like. They upvote it. But here's the thing, Seth. I'm not just popular on BackPac. I'm finding that these, to use a buzzword, these influencers, they're popular and well known and well respected online and offline. So while people may be upvoting my what I'm sharing, it's not just about what I'm sharing. It also is in respect to who I am as a person. Kim Kardashian's a great example. She shares a bunch of crap all the time that really doesn't reflect her at all, but people will favorite it on Instagram because they like her. So again, say Red Bull sends us out 100 free cans. I'm one of the users on BackPac. I get a free can. The first thing I'm probably going to do, because I'm a typical millennial, I'm gonna take a picture of my Red Bull and I'm gonna post it. I'm not just gonna post it on BackPac though. I'm gonna post it on Facebook. I'm gonna post it on Twitter, Instagram, all of my social media networks, because it was a reward I got for being popular on BackPac. So they're gonna use our name hopefully, but at least Red Bull's name is gonna get out there, increasing their reach and their market. But here's the thing: I'm not gonna just drink that Red Bull in my apartment. I'm gonna, grab that Red Bull before I go to class in the morning. It's 9:30. Everybody's walking to class. I'm passing like thousands of students on my way to my 9:30 a.m., which is like literally a torture. And there's gonna be a few people that walk by me, and a few people that walk by me, they're gonna take notice. And it's not gonna be maybe a conscious thing. It's probably gonna be pretty subconscious. But what's gonna happen is that they're gonna say, yeah, I know that girl Taylor, like she's really good looking. She has the hot boyfriend. She gets invited to all the cool parties. And you know what? I always see her stuff is always uploaded on BackPac. The next time, one of those people later on that afternoon, they're tired, they walk into a 7-Eleven, they don't want a coffee, they want an energy drink. They're going to go and they're going to walk over to the fridge. They're going to see the Red Bull. They're going to see that can that I had earlier in my hand that day. And they're going to say, I want that can because I remember that Taylor had that and she's cool and I want to be exactly like that. And like I said, a lot of it's human psychology. It's a little bit, it's almost weird to talk about it because most people don't think about it. It's very, like I said, unconscious, but it's putting a name to a brand and giving it a personality. The
Mm-hmm.
people who we expect to be receiving these rewards, like I said, they're popular on and off campus. They're the influencers. So it doesn't matter what we put in their hands. People at the end of the day, they're still like they want to be them and they want to use everything that they're using. Um, it's like it's micro celebrities. It's like if I gave Justin Timberlake a Red Bull, everybody's gonna want to go and buy it. If I give the big kids on campus, the hot commodities here, if I give them products that people see them walking around with, they're going to influence others to purchase it as well. So that's kind of what we have also tied into this to be able to, not only get like some brands involved, and obviously, that's a way for us to, in the future, generate some profit. But I'm not just set out to make like a make a way for people to connect. That's already been done. I really wanted to solve a few problems here, and other than the privacy, it really was just making sure that students could save some money so that either they can put it in their bank account or contribute it to a better college experience. Now, what wraps this all up, Seth, is that again, you have all this content you're sharing throughout 4 years of college. So who's to say that 5 years from now, one of the people that you were connected with at, Rowan University, isn't like, the CEO of Goldman Sachs. It's always a possibility. You never know who people are going to end up
Oh, you
knowing who
never
they're going to be.
know.
Yeah. So I wanted to be able to do something to kind of help that. And the best way that I saw to do this was to just auto delete. So BackPac, your account actually auto deletes upon your graduation, but we want to make sure that you don't forget about your experience here because as avid social media users, a lot of the time, we're not just using it to connect and all that. People really enjoy reminiscing on memories. And we actually zip up all the data, we send it out to their .edu email address, and they can actually download, say, the photos into iPhoto. They can download their contacts into their contact books. We're trying to think of right now like a creative way to kind of compensate for everything else. But then I also have plans to hopefully license something to take them into the next step of their lives, leaving that college network and getting into a professional network, say,
Like
such as
LinkedIn or something.
LinkedIn.
Yeah. So here's a question for you. So how are you funding this? Like you said, you're a college student.
Yes.
College
So,
students, college students don't make a lot of money.
yeah. It's been tough. It really has. I have one co-founder, Joey, and we bootstrap everything.
I'm the bootstrap.
But yep, we're honestly through money that we've saved from like internships, jobs. I beg people for money sometimes. Like, I mean, honestly, it's just I think people see how passionate we are about it, and I mean, there have been experiences, in all honesty, where people have just given me money. I've been really lucky. I also have, people in the Philadelphia tech community who have been really supportive of this. And when we needed something, like say money for our LLC, which we just received, so that was really exciting.
Nice.
We had somebody who was willing to help us out with that. But um, right now we actually are applying to incubators and accelerators, where we're talking to investors. There's obviously we're getting to the point where we are going to start needing some bigger money that people don't just give out as favors, and definitely not money that college students can get, not even with a salary. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Finished up a pitch deck about maybe a month ago. That was pretty tough. Just like I said, being in the field in advertising, I had to do stuff like that a lot. But I never realized that when you're doing it by yourself, it's a whole lot harder.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So we have we have some interns who aren't interns. We don't call anybody who works for us that. They're actually associates, and I allow them to be as creative as they want to with this. We have meetings once a week. I want them to feel like they're part of a family, and it's not like a job.
Now it's
They,
all local, or is this? I mean, I noticed there's something in
yeah.
Iowa.
Yeah, so I mean, it started out pretty local. I was like, oh, we'll just do it at Rowan and see what happens. But it caught on to Rowan pretty quickly. I would say like the reason our social media networks are where they are is because of Rowan. So I'm very thankful for that. But in the past, maybe like 3 or 4 months, I mean, we have people that communicate with us all the way from California to one of my interns now, my associates, is up in Canada. So
That's big.
we have a lot of people who in different parts of the world that are reaching out and communicating with us and, expressing how they think this is such a great idea and, they can't wait to use it. I was just telling somebody earlier today, it's awesome when I wake up in the morning and I don't just have 1, 2, or 3 emails, but I have like 10, 12, 13 emails, and they're not from like, hi, I'm wondering if you would like this service.
Maybe
It's
the junk mail, yeah.
yeah. It's students who found us like on Facebook or came across our website, and it's legitimate fan mail. Like that is awesome. Like that powers me to get up in the morning and be like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah, so
So
here's the question to wrap us up, because
yeah.
the show's a bit short. How can people find out more information about
So
Backpack without K?
absolutely. Our website is just www.backpackapp.com. There's no K on the end of backpack. And then through there, I mean, if you just search Backpack app in any social media network, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest, Instagram, there's Google Plus, Backpack app, you'll find us. We come right up. Red logo. That's us. I would say our biggest following's on Twitter, and if you're looking to communicate with us, it's probably the best way to do it. But we have the contact form on the website, and I would say the information more so about like what we're doing and what we plan to do is on the website. Our fan bases are really on our social media accounts, and within the next 6 months, we actually plan to have this tested, retested, tested again,
Yeah,
and launched and in the App Store. And then I'm hoping to actually go on a college tour.
there you go. So you don't actually quite leave college.
Yes, yes, yes. I graduate in December, so I am prepared to kind of take us to the next level. Uh,
Parents supportive?
they do, but it can be complicated sometimes.
I know. I know.
It's not something that's obviously generating any profit right now, and they're worried because I put way more time into this than I put into school, and thank God I worked my little butt off the past 3.5 years, so I do have the room to slack off now. Or I thought it was just going to be senioritis. I didn't think I was going to be starting a company, but I put myself in a good spot. And they're just worried. You have a 6 month grace period. Like, don't put yourself in a situation where you're not going to be able to get a job. And I'm interviewing for jobs and whatnot, but I'll be honest with you, Seth. At the end of the day,
You
if
want to
it
do it.
was if it was a choice, yeah. I mean,
I know how
I
it is. I know how
yeah,
it is.
I'm all about it. I'm passionate about it. Anybody that you talk to that knows me will tell you that my passion for it is infectious, and it's to the point where people either think I'm losing my mind and I'm crazy. Um, but if you're an entrepreneur or you've done something like this before, you understand that the people who make it, they have to be like that. There's no like you do it some days, sorta, half, kinda, really. It's either you do it or you don't. You put your all into it or you don't, and I'm invested into this, obviously financially at this point,
Oh yeah, definitely.
but I'm also invested into this even more so, mentally and emotionally. And that is, I think, what is making this work. People believe in it because they see that I believe in it. and it
Hmm.
gets other people excited about it. So I'm having a time in my life. Honestly, it's the best thing I've done, and I wouldn't change anything, and I wouldn't give it up for the world. People have to pry me away from my computer sometimes.
Oh, there you go. Well, thanks for being on the show, and we'll get
Thank
this
you.
out and hopefully get you some press for it.
All right. Thank you so much, Seth. I appreciate it. Good
Yeah,
luck with
and we'll
everything,
connect
okay?
definitely. All right, keep me in the loop.
All right. You take care.
All right, bye-bye.